Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Navtastic, podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and
I'm Chris Jayawardena. Hello.
we're reviewing The Wedding, which is from season 5 of Laverne and Shirley, directed by Joel Zwick and written by Paul A. Roth. And you got some facts about them, Chris, and that'll be coming up later in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what the episode is about. Frank awakens Laverne in the middle of the night to ask her blessing. He wants to marry Edna Babish and do it toot sweet, because Frank has booked the church for the wedding already, and it's Saturday. The girls pitching to make the wedding a reality, only to be foiled by the death of Councilman O'Neill, whose funeral commandeers the church for their allotted time. Edna panics. Each time she's gotten married, she's run into postponements. 5 postponements, 5 broken marriages. The girls manage to come up with a solution and find a pulpit that will let them sing, but will it be for naught? So what do you think of this episode?
This was great. This was great. Sorry.
Yes, it is. It's really sweet.
My enthusiasm when I knew this was coming was through the roof, and there's a few misstep points, but every beat in this episode is great. I absolutely adored this episode.
Yes. This is a really sweet episode that is 100% about community and family, and about accepting others into your community, and about opening your heart in a lot of ways. The way the show handles the gang staging this wedding at a black church is fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
How they're welcoming, and they kind of go, well, I don't want to horn in on these strangers' church, but then they realize, they're worshiping God too. This is how they worship God, and this is how they are going to allow us in to their lives, into their worship of God. And then it just becomes one just like exclamation of joy. This whole episode is joyful. It really is just joyful.
I believe the colloquial term is fluff, and I mean that in the most sincere, loving way, because we have this tendency to, in fandom context, we refer to fluff as like just raw, shippy goodness. That's entirely what this episode feels like. This is about celebrating these two characters, celebrating all these little aspects of their relationships, and even the few obstacles that are there are very minor. They're resolved even off camera. And it really, what it comes down to is about just finally taking the plunge and really having faith that you deserve and you can have happiness and have your happily ever after.
Yeah. In the end, that is what it's about. It is a sweet little fairy tale set within the simplicity of the Laverne and Shirley world.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they come together and they just make this wedding up from the ground to the ceiling, and they do it on no budget, with very little time, but it manages to be this extremely intimate and warm expression of love.
Yep. Now, speaking, this is just kind of a concept beyond sort of initial thoughts. Like, have you been to a wedding that was you didn't really know the people there?
No, I have not. I have not actually been to a wedding where that has happened. I actually, the only 2 or 3 weddings I've been to were for close family members. They were for cousins.
Mm.
And I never really I've never had friends that live close enough to me where I get invited. Most of them are not married at the moment, because who can afford in this economy?
Indeed.
Yeah, indeed. And I knew all the people there generally. Either they were friends of friends, or I knew them because they were, friends of my cousins, or etc. So I vaguely knew of people.
So
So, yeah.
yeah, I ask because, you know, I have done the filming weddings thing a few times, and it's by the way, if you're in any form of videographer, it is a difficult racket to get into, and
I can
it's
imagine.
one of those, it pays well, but there's a lot of work you have to do, and to make it affordable for yourself to make something of a livable wage, you either have to be doing weddings at an expense level that's very high, or you have to do everything yourself. And I know a guy who did that for quite a few years, you know,
Wow.
and you know, he realized, okay, this is getting too insane, and he went off to go work in real estate. And I think he'll do weddings occasionally, you know, for like a, you know, decent $600 or $700. But anyway, the point is, what's really beautiful about the process of coming together for love and that sort of thing, because, you know, I've been to the different types. I've been to the one where the two families didn't like each other. I've been to the ones where I've been to the ones where you can see it's very much that it's doing ceremonial. You can see that there's probably a couple of shotgun wedding situations in there too. And I've, you know, done the Catholic one. My dad and I we filmed the gay wedding was between the two women, the two cis women. That was beautiful. It was honestly one of the most romantic. It was one of the most fun. It was one of the most creative. The joy from the youngest kid to the oldest person there was just infectious. And it was, you know, and so with this kind of reminded me of that, where, you know, talking about, you know, they're being welcomed into this church, into this community, basically. And it is interesting, the idea that we're finally getting to see a bit more of the Black community in Milwaukee, the Milwaukee of Laverne and Shirley here. And it makes you kind of wish that there had been, up to this point, more of that, because, you know, there is a particular community spirit. And yeah, you know, this is the very hunky-dory cliche. And we'll talk about the guy who plays the Reverend, you know, is a very talented, very known actor, if you're familiar with him. And I would have loved to have seen more of these elements and these qualities, because, you know, we've talked about how, this show is super white. It's super duper white.
Super duper incredibly white, especially because this is set in Milwaukee, and Milwaukee's a melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
You have all kinds of different people, all kinds of different folks who are of different races living in Milwaukee. And everybody in Milwaukee is white. And on Happy Days, at least, Gary tried to make some like ham-fisted gestures towards racial equality and harmony, which in the 70s, and then through him it kind of came off as a little cheesy. But Laverne and Shirley in particular is extra white. Even the characters they bring in when we move to California, white, and they really could have added like Hildy as a regular, because she's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking back to season 1, I would have loved a background romance with Hildy and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have to deal with that, what the heck an interracial relationship would have been like in the early 60s, because holy crap, after we're just barely past, I don't even know if we've been past loving at that point.
If I think barely, because Loving was, I want to say it was 58 or 59, wasn't it? Or was it maybe 62? I can't
remember.
You know what? I'm gonna look it up. Future me, keep this in, because that's the point. If we make this time some mistakes, we have to also be honest that sometimes we have to look this up. Loving versus Virginia was 1967 was when it was decided. Yikes.
Oh man, wow, yeah. Man, that would have been extra hard to deal with. But it still would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would have just been after the busing. This is Boston and all that stuff, and integration, all that, so in the real world. So seeing stuff like that on screen would have been incredible, important in a way.
Agreed.
So,
but
it's a shame we didn't go there. It was nice to see this positively portrayed. Yeah, it was nice to see this positively portrayed church filled with Black folks who do this all the time, and they're just letting these white people come in and enjoy the church and worship their God and get married, and they're genuinely happy for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're genuinely happy for these total strangers.
Exactly.
The total strangers come to find affinity with them.
And that's what I was getting at about the filming the weddings, is that's what you feel. when you're around these people. Like, you know, there was the Catholic wedding that I was at, and we're talking Mexican Catholic wedding, like long ceremony. My God, my legs were sore. And then the big after party, which, like, you could tell the bride and groom just wanted to relax, and the party was for everybody else. It wasn't for them. And they were just, you know, really happy. They were super sweet on each other. They adored each other really closely. And you just, when you went there, it was like, you want these people to be happy. So like when you're filming that kind of stuff, because you see all that light and joy in them, you want to do everything you can for them. And that's what I love, is that sense of community of, as you're saying, it's welcoming. We want to see this done right. We want the spirit of love and of God to be there with you.
That is the best part of a good and positive experience with religion. Like, the best kind of any kind of religious organization says, welcome, come closer to my fire. Not, you know, restrictive thing BX because my interpretation of this book says so. And you're not welcome, and your friends aren't welcome, and you're going to burn in hell.
Right.
Any version of God that opposes that version of God, of that interpretation of the word of God, is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, but anyway, so this it's a strong, but back on track. Yeah, this is a delightful episode. We have got wonderful work from Phil and Betty. You've got the bachelor party scene, which is, you know, has layers of jokes and how it builds up and builds up and builds like the rhythm of that, like it builds up and then it comes down a little bit, and then it builds up and then comes down again and then builds up. You know, it's a wonderful, and it captures the loopiness of intoxication really well too. And it's it is.
God. Okay, I wanted to specifically bring this up since we're talking about the bachelor party. Let's look at the difference between how the boys were drunk in the bachelor party in season 1 and how they're drunk here.
Oh yeah,
because that's a huge difference. Even though Lenny does get a little bit rowdy, going, "We want the big show. We want the big show." When Squiggy has promised him a naked lady and cannot deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And then Squiggy just sticks his hand in the cake and just throws it at him. And he just gets up and he gets all mad. But it doesn't go to the point where, let's take the pizza oven and throw it out in the street because I didn't see boobs.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a difference. And I even love the way that Lenny and Carmine have that interaction. I keep talking about how, like, you know, a little bit of bro moment where they're totally imagining that there's a hole in the wall and that's where the girl got away. It's like, no, Squiggy was enough of a jackass that he bought a real cake that probably cost as much as the fake cake with the girl in it because it's really good, big and really well made. And he ruins the damn thing.
Because he's drunk enough to have forgotten that and actually thinks the lady is in the cake.
Right. And so, this is not Mr. Science Theater. This is not Cake and Shake. They did not bake the person in it at an hour at 3:50.
Get the jaws of life, man. The jaws of life.
Oh, so the hand pops out. But I love Carmine and Lenny, how in the moment of, like, they're building the story together and then they go running to the bowling alley to chase after the naked girl, quote unquote.
Yeah. And then Eddie almost breaks his neck scrambling after down the sea. God, that is glorious. That is a great little scene. I love that even Frank, you know, knows that the girl isn't there, and he goes, I'll go peek. It's like, and all he's gonna see is Carmine and Lenny running around the alleys, probably staring at the ball return, looking for a girl that doesn't exist.
It's
hilarious.
I love these characters. That's so them.
Yep. Same as you well know. I love it when he looks at the boys and he says he wishes he had his son, just like trails off. Looks at Karma with his shirt halfway unbuttoned to his navel. Looks at Lenny and Squiggy. And then it says Mickey Mantle. And Lenny goes, yeah, true. Yeah, I want to like him too.
Oh, I love that too. Yeah, that's so good. Because it's, you know, and they're drunk enough that they're not going to take offense, you know? Yeah, taking offense when intoxicated is the weirdest thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's so arbitrary.
Like I said, that's season 1 boys versus now season 5.
Yep.
I was gonna say, I hope that isn't the cake that Laverne was baking for them.
She made something way too small for that. If anything, if that was, which I doubt, it would have been the very top. And also, you saw the holes in the side of the cake that she had made. So I mean,
Yeah. So I was like, oh god, I wonder if that's it. I wonder if he's just sticking his hands in it, thinking it's something else. Because the fact that he actually bought a cake and instead of a stripper cake is just amazing. That's the best.
That's so good.
God, if Lenny ever got married, he would try to take him on some kind of unbridled journey and end up like taking him to Disneyland instead somehow.
Yeah, or you know what?
Kind of thing.
Well, if Lenny got really drunk when he okay, so theory. Lenny gets really drunk for his bachelor party and just wanders off and like wants to go like play with the ducks or something. At the duck pond, and Squiggy wants to like go to the toy store or something like that. Something silly and childish, and it's cute, but it's also kind of pathetic.
I was gonna say they go to a Disney park, and Squiggy's like, I heard if you tip Snow White, she takes her top off. He's like desperately trying to shove money at Disney princesses, begging them to get undressed and them kicking their asses. They get banned from Disneyland.
That'll get you banned faster than drinking all the water out of every fountain.
Oh yeah. Oh god, do you do that? I was like just picturing that. Oh lord.
Wait, did you not see the guy who got the permaband from Disneyland for doing that?
No.
Yeah, there was some dude, this viral TikToker that did a ranking of all the water. You see him pour his thermos into every fountain or water supply. He drinks from every water drinking fountain. He drinks from every water dispensing machine, and he ranks all the water. But even the unhealthy fountain water, you are not supposed to drink.
Interesting.
And yes, he got permabanned when those videos went up.
Oops. Well, I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, jeez. Now that's something the boys would do. Remember when we talked about...
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about social media platforms.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that's the kind of stunt that a Squiggy would pull if he had a TikTok.
Yep, that is true. Anyway, can we? I feel like we've gotten really far ahead of ourselves. Do we want to back up just a little bit to the perfect opening to this episode?
Yeah. Laverne having that dream, and then Shirley just tries to pretend she's Louie and get her to confess to whatever the heck she's been doing with the guy.
Right. And my mom actually genuinely laughed out loud at the Louie voice bit.
Oh my goodness.
That was wonderful.
Laverne, let's have fun. I can't, Louie, I can't.
I'm not that kind of girl. And smack. Goodness. And then suddenly Frank. And I love that there is like almost zero preamble to get the story started. We set up a little bit of just like getting eased into the characters a little bit, and then kaboom, the bomb goes off, and the entire rest of the fireworks go off, I should say. And the entire rest of the episode is the wonderful display of color of character color afterwards.
Oh yeah, it is. Oh, it's wonderful. And it echoes back to Moose Crenshaw and Laverne's rather active and wild imagination, so to speak. And she whatever she was doing with old Louie, we never hear about him again, but it was something. I love gossipy Shirley, who pretends she doesn't want to know the dirty details, but totally wants to know the dirty details. She wants to know everything.
I love how into it the audience is, and then Shirley being so into it, and then she yeets herself back into bed. She just launches herself back in after, and it's just, and oh god, I love the relationship that is able to blossom of sisterhood between the girls that is then confirmed or affirmed through Pop looking at him at them both like as kids,
Yeah.
Even Shirley is the honorary adopted, in a sense, spiritually adopted daughter, and you really see that dynamic in the scene, the way this is done.
Yeah.
It's so precious.
I love that he kind of wants Shirley's permission. He does say he wants Shirley's permission too. At this point, you can call me Pop. Is what has already been said early in the season. So the last season.
2 seasons ago.
Seven seasons. So 2 seasons. Yeah. 2 seasons. I remember season 3. I just remember it was season 3 now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. For folks, in our defense, we literally just put up the Shirley's Operation episode like 2 weeks before recording this one. So
yes. I'm just late at night. So ultimately, she is part of the family now. She is like the sister Laverne never had.
Exactly.
And and in a lot of ways, she's the extra daughter that Frank never had, and therefore, she gets included in the decision. I love that. As old-fashioned as Frank is, he goes to his daughter for permission to make this big change. I think that's interesting in of itself because he constantly dreams about her entering this traditional marriage with some Italian dude and popping out grandkids for him. And yet he is modern enough to say, hey, I gotta ask my daughter's permission to do this. But she says, no, I will not marry this woman. It's really interesting. It's an interesting change.
I wonder how much of it also is Fabrizio wanting to. He's not just asking for the blessing. It's like there's a certain lack of confidence because he's not good with the words. He claims he ain't romantic, but he is. The whole thing is about how he's held a lot of it back. And I wonder if in some respects it's like he needs that confidence boost. He needs the confirmation that this is a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He needs to figure out if this woman is going to be the woman. If she is going to both last and always be there for him after, he gave his whole heart to Josephine, and then she died. And so that's a hard thing to cope with and a hard thing to do. And as tough and big and macho as he is, when it comes to Edna, he, does have those moments of lack of confidence and lack of assurance, as you just said. So, yeah. The way it's a combination of both. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I love the fact that he, jumps on this impulse idea. He books a church. He does not tell Edna about it. And does not bother. He does not have the courage to propose to her until they're like, about a day? About 2 days out from the wedding.
Practically. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is interesting in of itself because I don't know. Does he come off? He doesn't come off as that kind of impulsive, does he?
He doesn't. But what it says to me is that he has learned to be very cautious and also a bit cautious. Actually, is the wrong word when I think about it, when I think twice on that. He is someone who. There's always something a little secret in his actions because I think he had this sense of what you're supposed to present versus who you are. Because think about the cruise, and he has to keep up appearances. He's not going to. He is absolutely giving his daughter the money, but he has to do it in a way that isn't going to be. It even isn't for himself going to be. I gave her the money, like I just handed it to her. She still had to find it. She still had to discover it, but it's something kind of. I don't know. It's espionage, It's secretive. It's and it because like even the fact that like, the idea of like where is it gonna actually propose? I mean, it's like because you can't hold a surprise wedding. I mean, you can. It's a bad idea. And his first thought is at the cockfights.
It's so cute. That is a squiggy level idea of a place where we should propose.
Which definitely explains why he allowed Squiggy to his bachelor party.
Yeah, pretty much. And basically, from what I can tell, it kind of feels like Squiggy planned it, even though Carmine's the best man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's the one who arranged for the nudie cake and failed. The very minimal decorations kind of feel like Squiggy did them, just slapped up some raffia here and some taffeta there, and let's have pizza and beer. There's no like intense planning. If Carmine had planned this bachelor party, the nudie girl would probably have been there.
Yeah. I mean, she probably would have been a 39-year-old, divorcee, or like a 55-year-old, prostitute from Braddock's, but
Hey, Sonny, look at these.
I'm just thinking of the I'm just thinking of the blonde cigarette smoking woman from Chainsmoker from Futurama.
Yeah, oh my gosh. No, I can't picture her. Oh my god, yeah. I was actually thinking of her in a combination of her and the Diamond Dance lady from
Yes.
yeah,
From Call Me a Taxi.
Call Me Taxi, yes.
Yeah. Oh
Yes,
god, bringing her back would have been awesome.
Yes, God. You want to see the fun bags? You gotta give me $40.
Oh man.
$60 for the fun bags.
Oh man. But yeah, the I also love we have yet another Fister name drop here. You gotta take us someplace romantic, like the Cafe La Fista. And the story about Laverne knows what the food tastes like.
Yeah. I love that she just ate someone's left behind doggy bag, because of course she did.
On a bus, no less. Like, who knows how long it's been on the route.
Yeah. Yep. God, she has a cast iron stomach, that girl.
I used to as well, so I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't eat, okay, clarifying, I didn't eat anything like that. I didn't eat anything that stupid. It's just that whenever I got sick, my stomach never did anything weird, so I could have, like, spicy food to drain my nose. That's all it was. Clarifying. Anyway, sorry. Back on track. So, did you feel, because I certainly did, that even though there's some wonderful changes and remixes in the ideas of the scene where they go to the cafe, they come back, and they're super excited because they think he's asked the question, and he clearly hasn't. He's like, and my mom at that point was like, gesturing like, no, ixnay.
Yeah. Oh god, that is such a great moment, because the girls are so excited. They've spent all day looking invitations, sealing envelopes, and for it to come to naught, basically. And to find out that Frank has not even bothered to pop the question. So they spent all day preparing these invitations for a wedding that might not occur. Mm-hmm. So, oops. No wonder I completely understand Laverne's horror at Frank not doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel kind of bummed. We, with all those invitations, we only saw like 7 people behind them, 2 of which were probably Pizza Bowl regulars.
Yep. Yeah, it kind of feels like nobody had time to get there. So they kind of did the invitations as a gesture towards tradition. You could, we wish you could be at our wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry you can't be at our wedding because we did it all in one weekend. Oops.
Yeah. Again, this is what happens with surprise weddings. You can do it, but it's kind of a bad idea. Anyway, the thing I wanted to mention about the proposal scene, I noticed, I'm probably reading too much into this, but I noticed some interesting echoes to another proposal scene. He takes her by the hand, the way like a little kid, playing with the telephone cans, and has her sit in about the same position on the couch and get on his knee, and that I don't. Yeah. It reminded me of a certain other character in the show's cast. That's all.
Thinking about looking for your leaf, aren't you? I love the tin can thing. It's so cute. And I love Edna's reaction to everything. She just wants him to cut to the chase. Mm-hmm. She really just wants him to just cut to the chase, and he is failing at cutting to the chase. And and then he does, and then she's all emotional, and we're all emotional, and we all have feelings.
Yeah. Oh, my mom got teary-eyed. She's laughing. She's simultaneously laughing and clutching her chest, going, "Oh, my heart!" at the same time. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she absolutely adored this episode front to back, but those highlights especially. And I love Edna's enthusiastic response. I'll marry you tonight. Just like he didn't even need to book the church in advance. She was solely like, let's just go do it now.
Yeah. Oh,
That was great.
That I loved how they handled it. The right combination of humor and sentiment. And we'll pretend we're married tonight. Wow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, my mother had a similar reaction to the audience, like, whoa. Hey,
Frank's getting some, everybody. Frank's getting some.
Yeah, I did say about a season or two, about 2 seasons ago, that Frank yeah. Future me's gonna bleep that. Future me's gonna bleep that. This episode's too wholesome, we're gonna bleep those things.
Frank.
Great, I'll bleep all that too.
10 minutes. I was going to say there's a great line coming up towards the end of the season where Laverne is off at a restaurant and she calls Frank for an emergency, and he and Edna show up in their night clothes. And she looks at them and goes, Pop. Yeah. She looks at them and goes, Pop, were you fooling around? He goes, no, I meant it.
Oh boy.
That's the last episode of the season. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
We'll get there.
But we've talked so much about how, like, Phil Foster and Betty Garrett are amazing as these characters, and what's kind of sad is in some respects this feels like we're getting ready for really good endgame for this series, because this is a hell of a great cap to these characters. We're giving them the good old-fashioned Gary Marshall happily ever after, everything's okay, and that knowing there's like 4 more seasons after this makes me go, oh boy. There's gonna be the argument episode down the line, isn't there? Oh, that's gonna hurt. But together, their chemistry, their timing, just even when she crashes in on the bachelor party about, like, when the girls have found a replacement location, the way they cuddle up in the chairs together is the most precious thing. It's it's so intimate and real, and it reminds you that it's so stupid how these censorship elements throughout television and movie history have not allowed us to have those expressions. I mean, like, remember, like, the whole thing in, the famous story about Notorious, how they had to sneak the kisses in and time them in that dialogue scene.
Yeah, that was the Hays Code. Hays Code sucks.
Hays Code.
Never. Hays Code.
If ever I do a film noir, I need to name a character Hayes, who's a fuddy-duddy who gets his head blown off.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, even better. Even better, he is one of those politicians, those extremely conservative politicians who secretly has, like, money in a porn studio or something. He's one of those two-faced motherfuckers. Anyway.
Nice. Okay.
Anyway.
God, I love you. But anyway, but this is, and this is the thing. That's a payoff thing, and that's exactly what this episode is. I adore how this whole episode is payoff. This is about paying off these aspects of these characters. I mean, I'm curious, especially like for you, like as a daughter, how was it with the scene with Laverne's speech to Edna? She's saying, like, when she calls her honey and sits down and sort of like, are you okay with it? How did you feel about that one?
I love that scene. It's very sweet. It's very beautifully handled. The way they managed to finally take Laverne's mother-daughter relationship with Edna, which has been slowly building in this direction for a long time, and just bring it up to fruition is lovely. I love how they act. She calls me honey.
Mm-hmm.
She called me honey. I think that's so sweet. Laverne,
I did want to point out, it mirrors He Called Me Muffin.
Yeah, it does. Laverne, her whole life has been looking for someone who will be her mom figure. In some ways, Shirley is her mom figure. Like, especially when she's sick, Shirley becomes mom. So when Edna calls her honey and she welcomes Edna into the family, that's very meaningful. In the end. Yeah. It packs a punch if she finally gets to say that. It's good.
I'm sorry. I'm drifting off. I'm getting lost in emotions here. I love this episode. This is adorable.
Emotions.
It's just I think sometimes, we can get overly critical when we review media and say how, things require conflict.
Yep.
I like that the obstacle that's even put up about the bad omen, the anxieties, they're there to remind us that, these are natural. These are things that are going to happen, and how, Edna is really nervous. She wants this to work. She has seen so much of her life be, a difficult challenge with her kids and with her husbands, and she's been able to become this independent person for a long time, and now she's getting ready to share her life again with somebody who is also very much his own independent person. They would be supporting each other with their businesses. And the fact that it decides to make the obstacles so minor, I think makes this an amazing comfort episode.
Yeah, it does. It does. This is basically 100% pure, sweet fluff. The way the plot flows, there could have been like a little bit more meat added. Like, we could have had a wedding shower for Edna or something, or we could have seen the reception or something. But the way it works almost feels like a warm, fluffy hug. This is a warm, fluffy hug of acceptance, of people, liking and loving each other. You gotta admit, the way Edna and Frank finally overcome their nerves is lovely. And they overcome with great confidence. And that's really nice. That's what's a useful episode for lots of people.
Indeed.
I was going to mention the boys' fashion at the wedding. Everybody looks great at the wedding. But the boys upstage the bride.
They do.
Oh, I love it.
And isn't it the line that Squeaky was afraid everybody was going to be wearing the same jacket as him?
Yeah, everyone's going to wear the same suit as him. It's even better.
Oh man. And that gets us into the big ceremonial scene in the church, the part of the Reverend Larry wedding package. So
I was gonna say I love Reverend Larry. I love his parishioners. I love his choir members.
Yes. Yeah, we don't have any cast notes for those members because they're not credited. Reverend Larry is credited though. We should probably go ahead and mention and bring him up because this is a good time to mention it, because what's great, because it's good to have this preamble to get into part of how he brings this to the episode. Yep. So folks who've seen the episode, folks who are familiar with this actor, is Reverend Larry is played by Don Bexley. Now, this dude had a career. He was obviously Bubba Bexley on Sanford and Son. That was kind of his big thing. Now, over the years, according to IMDb, he has been an orchestra director, a singer, a dancer, a stand-up comedian, and an actor. He was active as far back as the late 1930s. In the early 40s, he was doing comedy in New York, sometimes with Milton Berle, Danny Kaye, Henny Youngman, and even danced once with Sammy Davis Jr.
Wow.
Now, during his touring it looks like sometime in the 40s or 50s, he met Red Fox, the lead of Sanford and Son, and struck up a friendship with them that lasted nearly 5 decades until Fox's passing in 1991. And he was not only there at the funeral. I thought I read that it said that he was one of the pallbearers, but I'm not sure. But good Lord, that man must have been strong at his age at that point. As an actor, Bexley got small roles and stuff like, Con Comes to Harlem, What's Up Doc, Sparkle, etc. And then after Sanford and Son, he would do mostly other TV appearances, like, this guest spot, and also was on. He even had he was on an episode of The Royal Family, Red Fox's show. I think he was trying to get him back onto it. But this was a guy who was constantly creating through his career and through his life. And they said, even though he died in 1997 at the age of 87 years old, this guy was born in 1910. He never stopped creating and was still, up to that point, working on new ideas for shows and live performances.
Wow.
I bring a lot of this up because, again, this is a case of it's really cool. This is a fantastic piece of entertainment history to have in the show for a relatively minor character in some respects. You could have had many other actors play this part, but there is a weight to the way he delivers the lines. There is an energy there. There's a presence there that really elevates it. And so you pointing out Reverend Larry was very good. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, and the choir members, and it's good. Anyway, that's my little rant for that. Please go on. I want to hear more of what you think.
There is such a lovely line spoken by the head choir master. That's really, really good. Honey, relax. Join in when you get the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a good line. It is beautiful, and that really sums up the spirit of the episode. And I love how the girls go from thinking, "Oh, we're at a place we don't belong here," to just wailing along with the choir and getting really into it, getting really, really joyous and enjoying every last bit of it. I love how, by the way, Betty looks amazing in that outfit.
Absolutely.
She
Absolutely.
looks like a knockout in that outfit. And I think the way that they both managed to sell the sentiments here without going too far over the top is great. It's just good stuff. Good stuff all around.
And it's still got those little jokes. The way the Black Choir sings in, the love, honor, and cherish. It's adorable. Those little intros. But what I adore about it is it's something that it's like, no, we're bringing you into this fold. You are experiencing this emotional event. We are encouraging you to let it out, to feel it.
Yeah.
But it's also still hilarious and fun. But yeah, my mom clapped my mom was applauding every time that they did something. She absolutely went bonkers for it. I did too. I think I may have mentioned to you probably while we were watching this, that's like, yeah, I was waiting for this to go full Blues Brothers, and it does not disappoint.
Yeah. They just really reel off and go for it. Everybody just goes for it. And it's just a total celebration of happiness and togetherness by the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the millions of reasons why it is such a good episode. It's a really lovely episode. Really, really wonderful.
Yeah. It's good stuff. And yeah. We've kind of covered that, we kind of did this more in our old school format, I think it just kind of came out of us here, which is good. I did want to point out, go ahead.
It helps that there isn't a hello gag in this episode, as far as I can remember.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There isn't one.
Yeah. So either it could have been that it was cut, but to be honest, I don't miss it this time around.
Yeah. It's kind of too sentimental. I mean, you notice that Lenny is the kind of guy who cries at weddings. He's sobbing the whole time until Carmine kind of craps the bed and fails to get the ring off of his hand.
Oh God,
I'm surprised you didn't mention that.
I was upset that Carmine was trying to pick up one of the gals in the pews on that side.
No, Carmine needs to be quiet. The ultimate lesson is Carmine needs to be quiet. It's been a good episode.
Oh my God. Yeah, there you go. I had no complaints because he barely said anything. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm growing to like him. I'm growing to the point of where the writers failed him.
We like him in the end. Yeah. We like him in the end.
All right.
I want to know how Frank asked Carmine to be his best man. That's what I want to know. And why he picked him over the boys.
I think it's, you know what? I have a feeling it has to do with that ledger he brings up at the pizza bowl.
Yeah, possibly. You got the smallest one. You get to have the ring. Maybe he's afraid the boys would pawn it.
Yeah. I could see Squiggy doing that.
Yeah. I didn't pawn nothing. Oh, what was I going to say? Yeah, this is really sweet. I love the line, "I'd marry you in a Dairy Queen."
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. All of it's really lovely. It's just the nicest expression of togetherness. It really is. Oh, I wanted to include this little exchange. Carmine says, "I left my wallet in my other pants." Lenny says, "I left my wallet in his pants too."
Mm-hmm.
And then Squeaky goes, "I left my pants at home."
I forgot about the squeaky part of that exchange. That is great.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Oh
great.
man,
It's a great chain reaction. I love it.
it's really good. Yeah, it's the elements of the way this builds up. It makes a lot of sense that this is a Paula A. Roth episode. She's the one credited as the writer because she was responsible for the bridal shower, which has got wonderful, good balance of comedy and sentiment. She was a co-writer. She co-wrote Bridal Shower and co-wrote Debutante Ball, and which coming back to the whole it's a bit fairy tale and it's very comfy blanket. That's very much how I feel about Debutante as well. And she also worked on the festival with Mark Sotkin on as well. Yeah, that's right. She co-wrote her and Mark co-wrote. Yeah, we're very tired. Co-wrote the festival parts 1 and 2. And yeah, so there's this element of sentiment, elements of family, this element of connection, and yet there's still these great little warm-hearted zingers. We were talking, I think, a little while back about how some of the comedy in the show can get a little mean, that the jokes are very much at the character's expense or because they're stupid or we're meant to laugh at them. Here it feels like it's the funny things real people do. It's the funny stuff our family does, our friends do, and there is that sense, as we were saying, this invitation that we are going to give you a good time at the show. We want you to become part of the family. And what better way to do that than with a wedding episode?
Yeah. Ultimately, in the end, that is the absolute best part of it.
It's good.
In the end, it's family. In the end, it's family. And that's what it's about.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know if I could think of anything to say. I can just point out the other little stuff I liked, but believe me, I will be making animated GIFs and putting the clips. This is absolutely going in the top 5 favorites for this season. So,
this is probably at least at the bottom of my top 5. I'm gonna have to think upon it some more. We're gonna get deeper in the season. This is a jam-packed season. There's so much good stuff in it.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm now very curious, what are the ones that go above it then? Because this one's gonna be hard. We'll see. It was delight, and I don't know anything else. I'm ready to rank it because part of it's I'm tired, but secondly is that I think it's also one to just be experienced. I'm hoping everyone who's listening has seen the episode already because it's absolutely a delight to watch on your own, and we can talk up a storm, but this is, it's all good.
Yeah, it's kind of perfect. It's kind of perfect, and it does not need anything extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did have one little piece of trivia to add about Paula Roth that I forgot to mention earlier. This was sadly the only episode. This was the episode that ended her tenure in the writer's room as a script consultant. However, good news of this is it was due to her moving on to be a producer for Good Time Girls. Which, of course, featured episodes directed by Joel Zwick and one reportedly by Howard Storm as well. Yep. We'll come back to her as she nears her end of the run of the series because Good Time Girls, as we all know, or those of us who've looked into this know, it lasted only a season-ish and didn't quite pan out. But it's interesting, sort of, if this was, even though she has 3 more episodes that she is credited as writer for, this being kind of her last major, part of being in the writer's room and being involved really closely, it's good. It's a good note to go out on, and so that's really it's a good high mark. Anywho,
yeah. I was gonna say Michael appears in that show, in Good Time Girls. I never seen that episode. I want to see that episode.
I was trying to figure out if that episode was directed by Joel Zwick and make that the trivia for this episode. And as far as I know, that episode does not have writer or director credits on IMDb. Yeah. So somebody dropped the ball on there. Yeah.
It's pretty much lost media from what I understand.
Ugh, bummer.
Too bad. Yeah.
I actually closed my eyes for a second there.
Oh, dear.
We better get moving.
Future Chris.
Future Chris, wake me up.
Future Chris,
Put
give
in.
him caffeine.
That would be the terrible time for my door to open and for time traveling future Chris to do that, especially if he's got gray hair and a wedding band on his hand and scar on his face. Anyway,
Tell you, he shouldn't marry the girl.
so, what are you ranking this one? I'm really curious.
Yeah, this is about a 9. It's a solid 9. That's damn good. This is a damn good episode.
Yeah.
Nothing else to say about it other than it is sentimental and sweet, and it is one of those rare instances where a couple on the show gets to be happy and stay happy, at least for a while. I won't tell you what happens eventually. I'll let you discover what happens eventually.
All I know is Betty's not in season 8, and that makes me very upset. And
she's not in season 7 either.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Never mind. I'm gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait. I'll find. I'll probably get it spoiled, but at some point. But let's not do that now. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the good. We'll focus on the good feelies and the fact that I'm actually ranking this higher. I'm giving this a 9.5 for me.
Wow, that's high compliments.
Yeah. Only major issues for me was, as you said, it could have used a little more in places, a little more meat, and I did feel that the wedding ceremony itself kind of lacked some coverage, and I think that was just because of the fact that they were probably pressed for time to wrap up everything, and they may have only had 2 cameras working at that point, or their C camera was having to get some of the close-ups of them. So I guess what I mean is there's like 2 wides basically. There's a wide on the bride and groom, and there's a wide on the girls, and then they have another camera on Reverend Larry, and so it's like it's a little awkwardly staged in the camera work. The camera blocking's a little awkward. So I would have liked a little more care. But that being said, this is kind of the type of scene that's sometimes referred to as a dinner table scene. Actually, it's not even quite as complicated as a dinner table scene. Dinner table scenes are where eye lines are a pain in the ass. This weddings and funerals as well. I've shot funeral or memorial scenes, and it's the same problem. You have way too many characters facing way too many different directions, and you have to figure out how to get a mixture of eye lines. And anyway, this is nerdy movie stuff, but it's difficult, but I think this crew was talented enough they could have done it, and I wish they had put that little extra work.
I was actually thinking about what the heck are the eye lines like in that. Geesh.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little in my thought.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is what it is. All right. So I guess we're good for this week. Can I go to bed now?
Yes, honey, you can go to bed now.
Okay. Thanks, babe. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us for Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, you can find us at Night After Night Pod on Tumblr, Facebook, Patreon, WordPress, and YouTube, or Night After Night PC on Twitter, where we do regular watch-alongs about once a month or so. We'll be seeing if that's more regular by the time this goes up, and I'll have to make an edit to this episode as well. Oh my god. All that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think that kind of covers the main social media spaces. We hope that you leave us comments, and if you would like to support us, you can please do drop us some coinage on Patreon. Throw a coin to your podcaster, or because you also can get 24-hour early access or 1 week early access. Those are our 2 main tiers, and we hope that you are out there having a wonderful day. And I actually don't know what's coming up next, because this was the end of the batch of episodes we watched. Yeah, Lisa, what do we got next? What am I going to wake up to?
It turns out the Angora devs have become a girls' gang. Laverne and Shirley try to make the bad girls go good in Bad Girls.
Whoa. So, on a scale of Happy Days to Switchblade Sisters, how badass is this episode going to be?
I was just going to make a Dagger Debs joke.
Hell yes.
You got there before me. Oh, God. This is probably Happy Days episode with Lola Tuscadero in it.
Okay. So it'll have something.
Yeah. Oh, we'll sing. Penny's daughter Tracy is in this one, so that's
Oh,
cool.
yay! That makes me so happy. I miss her shoving.
Yes, she gets to play a whole different character and gets to shove different people.
Oh, wonderful. Always good. Love that for a sitcom. All right. Well, hope
yeah.
everyone joins us for that. I will be more conscious next week. And
Yay.
and I guess my last note is, hey, movie loving softy nerds like me, go make sure you get yourself a partner that loves cute fluffy things like bunnies and Jack Hill Grindhouse pictures, because trust me, you'll be very, very lucky.
Yeah, it's a combination of stuff. It's a combination of stuff in my head. You do that. My only advice is, if you're going to invite Lenny and Squiggy to a wedding, make sure they don't upstage you. At least outfit wise.
Ah, yeah. Oh boy.
Oh, night, y'all.